Speaking of Ryan Reynolds, I pulled his chart too. I even pulled their connection chart. Let's take a look at Ryan's chart on his own, and then we will dive into the connection chart. So, one of the things that stands out to me right away in his chart, by the way, he's a 5-1 sacral generator with split definition. But on his design side, if you look on the blue side, right here, Sun and Earth placements, Sun, gate 31, Earth, gate 41. What does it mean? It means when we look at this person, we see a person who has an extraordinary amount of influence and influence in the fantasy world. So gate 31 is right here in the throat center. It's part of the channel of the alpha, which is the channel of the reluctant leader, people that we put into leadership roles because we feel like they really understand us well and that they are part of their collective, right? They represent the collective well. Down here is gate 41, the gate of contraction or decrease. And it's interesting because it's actually part of this full channel of recognition. And so it holds this ability to see what we don't have, but what we really desire, what we crave, what we long for, what we yearn for. So this is where we get wishes and fantasy. But this is likely not how he sees himself because it's on the unconscious side. Anything that is in blue in the chart is how others see you. How he sees himself on the conscious side here is someone who has really strong family values. That K50 is over here in the spleen, and it's actually part of the full channel, the channel of preservation. So it gives sacral energy, motorized energy to care for one's tribe, one's closest connections, one's community, one's family. Speaking of the spleen, some not self themes that may come up in this chart, because almost every single one of the gates are activated here in the spleen, and the spleen holds all of our fears, there may be a lot of anxiety that lives within this person, especially when he's not aligned with his own inner truth, with his own instincts. He's going to be pulling the energy of fear and anxiety in his direction and amplifying that. But if he is feeling like super aligned, and feeling good about himself with that defined spleen, then he has the ability to create a sense of safety and stability in relationships, in partnerships, or even just in the energy that he exudes. But again, that requires to empower his instincts. So we've got gate 34 going to gate 57. Gate 34 is the gate of power. 57 is the gate of intuitive clarity. A couple of other things that may be super distracting within this chart: fully open solar plexus and fully open crown. So not exactly knowing what to do or how to manage emotions well, feeling like emotions are unpredictable or uncontrollable, and really being on a very wide pendulum swing for emotionality. Sometimes everything's fine and nothing's wrong at all. And then sometimes everything is crisis and everything's going crazy, and kind of like being able to go back and forth between those feelings moment to moment. Same thing with the fully open crown center at the top there. This creates mental pressure. So when you have this center fully open, very large pendulum swing of I have the answer, I don't have the answer. I have the answer, I don't have the answer. I know, I don't know, right? And that can end up creating a lot of doubt and confusion, and just a lot of questions within the individual if they let that take over and they feel like the answer lies outside of them. Otherwise, though, the positive expression is the ability to really gauge who is inspiring and who isn't. A little bit of picking up on other people's thoughts, so you could call that mind reading or not. And then, of course, high amounts of empathy, being able to pick up on other people's emotions. It's only valuable if you know how to set the boundary there and understand what's yours and what isn't. Okay, now looking at the connection chart. Honestly, I was kind of surprised when I saw it because, okay, I'm going to start by saying the descriptions that you see on the connection theme of a connection chart, I'm going to say, like, don't pay a lot of attention to those because the language is not the best. So you've got 6-3, better to be free. 7-2 is called work to do. 8-1, have some fun. 9-0, nowhere to go. Okay, I think he was just trying to make a rhyme here, but they're not always the most beneficial. They're a little bit shocking when you see them at first, especially if you're like married to someone, right? And it's like, nah, it's better off if you're free. That isn't true. I'm going to explain to you where these connections themes come from and what they mean, and then kind of point out some things that I see that work really well within this connection. So the connections theme is simply telling you how many energy centers are colored in and how many are not colored in. So you can see there's 6 defined and 3 undefined. And so any center that is undefined in a connection means you're probably not going to find what you're looking for in that relationship if you're really looking for that specific theme. So for example, emotional depth. This is not where they find it. they may need to go and seek out emotional depth with one of their children or a close friend or a family member, because this specific relationship is not where they go for emotional depth. But you cannot discount the 6 other energy centers. So there's some grounding there with the defined root. There's some safety and security with the defined spleen, right? There's energy with the defined sacral. The ego center pushes both of them beyond their perceived limits, allows them to create some willpower together, some direction together, some expression together with the G center and the throat. They're not going to find what they're looking for if they're looking for a lot of emotional depth. They're not going to find this relationship to be the most inspiring relationship that they have, but that's okay. They have many other defined centers that they can lean on. The other thing that kind of jumped out to me right away is they both have these gates in their personality sun. So she's got 59 and he's got 50. And these gates are really about support. They're about tribe. They're about community. They're about family. So even though it's not the exact same gate, and of course, like I said, they have a 6-3 connection, they both have like a really big emphasis and a strong value around family. And if you look down at the very bottom, they've got some good electromagnetics. Okay, so first of all, they have the channel of wavelength. So that connects gate 57 to gate 20. So having a channel electromagnetic that connects into the throat creates really good communication within a relationship. And I would say with this channel specifically, really authentic communication between them. There is no filter. They're going to just automatically blurt out whatever is on their mind. And then 1858 as an electromagnetic channel, it's the channel of judgment, but it is about correcting and perfecting, right? So looking at past mistakes, maybe looking at the way that they were parented, or looking at how they felt about authority in the past, and being able to bring something new, being able to make things better. And it's something that they do together for the collective. So maybe that is something that shines through their family because they both have such strong family values in their chart. So what I see here is 2 people who want to really create a legacy together and that have pretty good communication, even though sometimes it might be blunt. The last thing I'll say here is that the connection chart itself is single definition. So all of the energy that they create as a couple when they're together has one seamless, continuous flow. There are no gaps there. Forgot to mention this earlier, but you can pull a connection chart for free anytime on my website. You just need to type in your information or the first person's information. And then at the very top of the screen, hold on, I'll go back to it. It doesn't show on the screenshot I have, but it's going to be right here, right above the chart. At the very top, you can click the button that says relationship chart, enter in the second person's info, and then it's going to pull up a chart like the one I just showed you. So enjoy.